Hi friends! Welcome back to my channel! Today we're gonna get freaky! With the mid-year freakout tag! Woo! I did this tag last year and it was really fun. However, I haven't watched anyone do them this year or even read the questions yet. If I remember correctly, it's like, what is your favorite book of the year and your least favorite of the year thus far, and things like that. But let's just get into it. Number 1. The best book you've read so far in 2021. I have read some really, really good books this year, but my number 1 favorite of the year thus far is an underrated thriller. And going into this book, I kinda was on the verge of unhauling it, but I'm like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. I read this book in one night because it was so good, but at the same time I got so scared I had to like put it down for a while. So my favorite book of 2021 so far is Here and Gone by Henley Beck. This is a thriller about this woman named Lila. I think her name Audra. My bad. Lila was the other one. Audra, who is running away from her abusive husband with her kids, and they drove from Pennsylvania to Arizona. And in this small town in Arizona, this cop pulls her over and says that she has too much weight in the back of her car, so it's like going down onto the ground. And she's like, oh, but officer, it's really late. I want to take my kids to the hotel up the street. You can follow if you want. Please, it's just right up the street. Well, this cop handcuffs her and arrests Audra. And from there, you follow her in the processing system in the jail, and the cop comes back without her kids, and he says that there were never any kids in the car to begin with, that there were car seats but they were empty, and that he's never seen the children. And then you start getting different pieces of the puzzle of, is the cop telling the truth and there were really no kids in the car, so Audra hurt or abandoned her kids somewhere from Pennsylvania to Arizona? Or is Audra right and the police are up to no good? I did not know who to trust or what to trust in this book, and so much darker than I thought it would be. It was definitely what nightmares are made of. So as a teacher and a future mother, this broke my heart and crushed it, and also had me turning around, looking over my shoulder to make sure that I was not being followed. I love this book so much. So if you want an emotional thriller that's going to get you paranoid, it's going to get under your skin, and if you're a mom or a teacher or you're around kids a lot, if this doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. Question number 2, best sequel you've read so far this year. Okay, so I don't read a lot of sequels. I don't read a lot of series in general. Okay, so far in 2021, my favorite sequel to a book is Archenemies by Marissa Meyer. She set up the perfect, like, it has potential to be a perfect conclusion to a series. Side note, I have just barely started Supernova, which is the 3rd one in the series, and I don't think that I'm liking the way she's going with the ending, but I am still very early on, little side note, but this is a perfect balance of fantasy and sci-fi and superheroes and romance and revenge and secret identities. This is very action-packed and kind of dark, actually, but I love dark. This is the first, like, superhero type of book that I've read, and I love superhero movies, so it would make sense that I like superhero novels as well. So if you have any recommendations for some kind of superhero book, I would be open to comics, but I prefer, like, novels. So if you have any recommendations, leave them down below. Alright, let's see what the 3rd question is. New release you haven't read yet, but want to. I have the perfect answer for that over here in my TBR card. The Mary Shelley Club by Goldie Moldavitsky. This I got sent by a publisher, so thank you to the publisher. But it is a YA mystery thriller with horror elements. It's about being in the Mary Shelley Club, which is kind of like a secret society type of thing, and I just want to read. So we have the true star of the show, Jelly Bean, Jelly Bean, Jelly Bean. Let's see, number 4, most anticipated release for the 2nd half of the year. Survive the Night by Riley Sager. That one is coming out next month in July, I believe. Anything by Riley Sager is going to go on that list. Biggest disappointment of the year. I have talked about this book so many times. I've ranted because I really, really, really despise this book. I actually DNF'd it and then ended up picking it up and finishing it and still hating it. So that is 99 Days. I'll insert a picture because I do not keep books I don't like. By Katie Catogno. It's about this stuck up. Are you gonna come here? Okay, it's about this stuck up jerk of a girl who comes back to her hometown after basically ruining everything because she was dating this guy, and then she started cheating on him with his brother, and her best friend is their sister, and now she hates her, and the whole town, because it's a small town, kind of took sides in the breakup, and so of course this girl starts dating the brother that she was cheating on her boyfriend with, and then turns around behind his back and starts cheating with the original boyfriend. And she just never learns her lesson. She keeps doing the same crap all the time, and she doesn't understand why people hate her. And I hate her, and I don't hate anyone. And I know she's a fictional character, but oh my God, she had problems. And yeah, that was the biggest disappointment, because I have previously read a book by Katie Katogno, and that was so bad I almost like DNF'd all of Katie Katogno's work and just unhauled them all. I have one left on my shelf that someday, when the wound heals, I will read. Number 6, biggest surprise. So, for biggest surprise, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by this at this point. I'm picking The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I read this back in January after telling one of my best friends that it's a terrible book, I'm not gonna like it, it's about demons and it's like historical fiction and it's gross and it's terrible. Yeah, I went off on her and I told her that this is a book I will never ever read, and that I did not enjoy the premise. So when I read it, it was for a reading vlog, which I'll leave up here, wherever it goes, on whatever side. But spoiler, I freaking loved this book. This was my favorite book of the year until last month when 2 books pushed it out of the first one. Favorite new author, debut, or new to you? Typically, I have to read more than one book in order for that author to become a favorite, but I watch this author's booktube channel, and I'm a fan of his writing, and I want to read more stuff by him. He has shorter novellas, but I think this is his first like full-length book. Don't quote me on it though. But it's a Bram Stoker Award winner. So Adam Caesar is becoming one of my favorite authors. I am trying so hard to find Video Game, I think that's what it's called. Another scary book by him. But so far this is all I've read. Newest fictional crush. So the thing is, I'm married. My husband doesn't let me have crushes. No, in all reality, I don't really get crushes on fictional characters. Number 9, newest favorite character. I would say I really like Nova. She's a kick-ass girl who can beat you up, okay? A book that made you cry. I was trying not to go with the obvious answer and the book that I've already used, but you know what? If I'm being honest, it's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This made me sob. I sobbed buckets of tears. A book that made you happy. I'm picking The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hong. This book is perfection. So you follow Stacy, her name's not Stacy, Stella Lane, who has Asperger's, and it's a own voices story, so this author really has Asperger's in real life. But she is smart as can be. She's very successful in her career, but not so much in her love life. So she hires an escort to teach her how to be a good girlfriend. And the writing is so awkward, and Stella is so awkward and quirky, and that's why I just loved this book. I was reading this and I was just like smiling the whole time, because it has fake dating, which is one of my favorites, my favorite trope, and it has an awkward main character, but she's awkward and quirky in her own way, and I absolutely just loved it. I think we need more books that have good Asperger's representation, because this book is perfect. And I know it wasn't my favorite book of the year, but I still highly, highly recommend this. Most beautiful book you bought so far this year. I think I'm going a different direction with this question, because I'm pretty sure what they're asking is like your most beautiful cover that you've gotten this year. I did not do that. I picked just like a wholeheartedly beautiful book inside and out that is just probably one of my favorite books of all time. I don't know, I read it very recently, so I don't know. I need to let it simmer with me for a little longer to determine if it's really one of my all-time favorites, but I feel like it could be. So for the most beautiful book that I've received or bought, I bought this one this year, was Felix Ever After by Keeson Calendar. Okay, just look at that cover, and then it's just like bright orange, but oh my gosh. So in Felix, I had heard about Felix Ever After everywhere on BookTube, and you know, no one really explained to me what this book was about, and I thought they were just kind of overhyping it. So I went into this book with no expectations. And this is the only book I managed to finish on vacation, because I liked it that much. So you follow Felix Love, this character, who is black, queer, and transgender. Keeson Calendar is also black, queer, and transgender. Keeson refers, their pronouns are they, them. So if I say they, them, I'm talking about the author. But I wholeheartedly loved everything in this book. So you follow Felix Love, who gets blackmailed. This mystery character puts up pictures of Felix before he was Felix, when he was, because he's transgender, before, you know, so they were pictures of a girl that he no longer is. And that's how this book starts. And then you learn a lot about Felix, and you get to know his friends, and maybe, just maybe, he finds love in the end, but I don't know for sure. But this book had me laughing out loud and sobbing. So I guess a book that made me cry, it could be Felix Ever After. But it had me sobbing. It had me laughing out loud. It had my heart so... my heart was so warmed for this character, and then it broke and shattered and then kind of melted back together at the end. But this is by far the most beautiful story I've read all year. Last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? All of them? Is that a good answer? I'm going with all of them. Honestly, my goals for the rest of 2020 are to read my physical TBR, get it down. I don't have a number yet because I think I have like 200 books physically, and then 200 on my Kindle, and I really want to read Kindle books and physical books. I want to get it down a lot. I want to get my TBR down a lot. Thank you so much for freaking out with me at the mid-year freakout. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.